Hello, it is midnight, and it is a Drafthouse Diary for Saturday, August 12th, 2023, when I came out here to the Littleton Aspen Grove Alamo Drafthouse to see Disney's Haunted Mansion movie. Now, I went into this movie with fairly low expectations. I figured that it was going to be decent entertainment, might as well use that season pass. My expectations were surpassed. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought they took the components they had with the property they were basing this on, Disney's Haunted Mansion ride, and they put together a valuable standalone movie that relied on the strengths of its character and the strength of its story, and it was extremely satisfying. It did have lots of references, bigger than Easter eggs, but not so much that you really needed to know anything about the Haunted Mansion ride to really appreciate all the detail of the movie. So I was very pleased with this. I enjoyed it very much. I can recommend it. Good performances, good characters, a pretty compelling story, a good mix of comedy and horror, more comedy, but also some horror and some pretty heartfelt pathos, all put together very well. Other parts of my trip to the Alamo, the pre-show, I can't tell you everything about the pre-show because they didn't open the auditorium until 10 minutes late, 20 minutes before the posted show time for the movie. And that's disappointing because the Alamo pre-show is part of what you're paying for when you get an Alamo ticket or when you have an Alamo season pass. And it's not unheard of that the auditorium opens a couple of minutes late, but a solid 10 minutes because they're still cleaning a relatively small auditorium. I think that if you don't have enough time between shows to clean up the theater, either you've got a scheduling problem or you've got a staffing problem, because that should all be calculated in, especially a theater like this where the pre-show experience is part of the experience. But what I did see of the pre-show, it was fun. It was cartoons about spooky subjects, a few different generations of commercials for creepy crawlers. I remember creepy crawlers, they were fun. Kind of dangerous in the first generation where they relied on this metal mold that got insanely hot for a child's toy, but that's a different story altogether. All in all, a good pre-show. Oh, they also had some trailers for an Abbott and Costello meets Dracula, I believe it was, monster movie, so that was fun. The food that we had, I just had an Irish coffee. Irish coffee is no longer actually on the menu. That's something I didn't notice first time I looked at the changes in the menu that they introduced in July. But our waiter, our server, was able to figure out how to place that order with the bar. It wasn't exactly the same as the Irish coffee that I used to get here. I don't know that they actually added any sugar to it besides the whipped cream, but it was good. I enjoyed it well enough. We also tried the matcha, I forget exactly what they're called, but it's the donut hole dessert that's part of the temporary, limited time Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle menu. So it had caramel and pecans and a matcha cocoa dusting on it. And I think the whole point of the matcha was to make it green. A lot of the Ninja Turtle menu items seem to focus on color, which is kind of lost when they're serving it in a dark movie theater, but they tasted pretty well good. The caramel and pecan on the donut holes, that was good. The matcha gives it a little bit of bitterness that it doesn't necessarily need, so adding that for color wasn't necessarily a great call, but overall they were pretty good. My darling wife had some coffee, and as has been the case at several different Alamos at different times, the coffee was kind of weak and a bit cold. So it shouldn't be that hard to make decent hot coffee if you're going to serve it. And when it's good, it is one of the best things to be sitting there in a movie with a thermos full of hot coffee. But almost half the time, the coffee's really not up to par. The theater, well, I already mentioned the fact that they were late in opening the auditorium. The server was good in that he was able to get me that Irish coffee or something close to it, even though it wasn't on the menu. He was also a server who felt the need to comment on everybody's order, which we can do without. But overall, it was a decent visit to the Alamo, but a much better movie than I had expected. So, yeah, a good time. Well, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back soon with more Drafthouse Diaries. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.